Okay, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the board meeting. Calling this meeting to order at 5:03 p.m. We can please do roll call.
Mr. Neil Patel,
Present and willing, Captain.
Miss Sarah Turner,
Here.
Mr. Jacob Sandoval,
Here.
Miss Elva Ariano,
Here.
Mr. Andrew Sandoval is not present.
Okay, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Ready, begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Wow, a year and a half.
Okay, now we move on to item 1.3, approval of board agenda. Can I please get a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Okay, motion by Ms. Turner. Can I get a second?
Second.
Okay, second by Ms. Diano. Can I get a roll call, please?
Mr. Neil Patel,
Aye, Captain.
Miss
Aye,
Sarah
aye.
Turner,
Aye.
Mr. Jacob Sandoval,
Aye.
Miss Elva Ariano,
Aye.
Mr. Andrew Sandoval isn't present. Motion passes 4-0.
Okay, today on closed session, we have three items. 2.1, potential litigation under Government Code Section 54956.8 and 54956.9. Then we have item 2.2, personnel actions. Item 2.3, conference with labor negotiators, Government Code Section 54957.6. Do we have any public comments regarding closed session items? Okay, no public comments. Can I get a motion to adjourn to closed session?
So motion?
Can I get a second, please?
Second.
A second, roll call, please.
Mr. Neil Patel,
Aye, Captain.
Miss Sarah Turner,
Aye.
Mr. Jacob Sandoval,
Aye.
Miss Elva Ariano,
Aye.
Mr. Andrew Sandoval is not present. Motion passes 4-0.
Okay, we'll see everybody afterwards. Okay, welcome back, everybody. We're reconvening back into open session. There's nothing to report back on. We didn't vote on anything. We're going to start off with item 5, approval consent agenda. Can I get a motion to approve?
Motion to approve?
Okay, can I get a second? Second. Can I get a roll call, please?
Mr. Neil Patel,
Aye, aye, Captain.
Ms. Sarah Turner,
Aye.
Mr. Jacob Sandoval,
Aye.
Ms. Alva Ariano,
Aye.
Mr. Andrew Sandoval is not present. Motion passes 4-0.
Okay, thank you, everybody. Moving on to item number 6, reports, information, and correspondence. Start off with Santa Maria Teachers Association. Is there anybody here from SRTA? Or any comments they submitted? No? Okay. And how about CSEA? No? Okay, no man as well. Okay, and it doesn't look like we have a principal spotlight tonight. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Moving on to 6.4, Superintendent's Cabinet. We'll start off, as mentioned here, with Mr. Victor Sandoval.
Well, good afternoon. This week, we've been diligently working on the bus routes for SPED and our general ed. One good thing that had happened today is that we finally received all of the MERV 13 filters for the district, and we will get those sorted out and start installing tomorrow. Today, we also had a department safety training, which included the CPR, first aid, and COVID protocols. In regards to the facilities, both of the projects are looking good. Today, we had substantial completion. We've passed all of our fire inspections, and we should be able to use the portables here in the next week or so. The ones over at La Jolla are ready to go, and we're moving in as we speak. So that's kind of like the highlight of my department right now. So other than that, that's all I have.
Okay, thank you. Any questions or comments from the board?
Just to thank you. I know the work with the portables was a lot, and just thank you for getting that done.
Thank you.
Victor, I am really glad to hear about the filters coming in. I did get some concerns from staff, but I know there was a major delay in production and everything, and we couldn't control that. So thank you for your expediency and getting that up and going. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay, no other questions or comments? Thank you, Victor.
Thank you.
Moving on to Director of Nutritional Services, Mr. Chuck Helm.
Hi, good evening, everyone. So we welcome staff back today. They don't start till their contract day is Wednesday, but typically come in a day or two to prep, do some training, and just to say hello. We haven't seen each other for the most part for 2 months. So today we had Titan come back and do some training for our staff. Went pretty well, went to about 12 o'clock or so. We had some minor hiccups with the technology aspect that I thought I had taken care of Friday, and clearly I didn't. So we spent a little time on that, but it ended up working out. And then after that, I stayed around with the staff stayed around until 2:30, just to talk about how things are going, try to make, answer as many questions as I could, and just try to get them as comfortable as possible. There's going to be more questions, and we're going to go through it as it comes. Titan's coming back tomorrow. They're on site for 2 days. So they're going to come back tomorrow for any extra support that our staff needs, or that I need, I guess. So with that said, staff will be at sites tomorrow prepping for Wednesday. I'm going to be hitting all the sites and meeting with all of them, just to, again, make sure there's no unanswered questions, or as little as possible, and just try to make sure they have a successful start on Wednesday, knowing that there's going to be some issues, but I don't have any doubt that they're going to adapt and overcome and get through it. So that's it for me.
I have a question. For the meals that will be served, I know most of the students are coming back to in person, but there is some that are going to be doing the virtual. Is there going to be like a separate place for them to pick up their meals? And
so we can set that up. We got information, I believe it was Friday in the afternoon sometime, that it is not a requirement, but we can set that up. All I'll need to know is where the students are, how many of them, and I think the best way to go about that, because we're not staffed to serve outside the school 5 days a week and serve on site. So I think the best way to go about that is maybe give them multiple meals for multiple days, if that's the route we choose.
okay, thank you very much. Any questions or comments from the board?
Chuck, once again, I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you're taking charge, obviously, of our food situation. But my question to you is supplies. You mentioned nationwide there's a shortage of various items coming up, and I'm sure you are doing the best you can to mitigate any concerns. But how are we looking for Wednesday and this week, and how do you feel about the shortage, or if there are any?
Right. In terms of shortages, it's not typically that we don't get items. When it comes to the food, we'll get substitutes. So I can create a menu for a month, 2 months, 3 months, however long in advance, and there's no guarantee that we're going to get those items. The major shortage right now is on equipment. So we're looking at getting some equipment for the temporary serving line at Gavilan View. That's where the shortage is really for us. But again, it's nothing we can't weather. We'll put some temporary equipment or just tables in there and get through it.
Once again, we have the right man for the job, right person. I'm sorry if I say so, man. But thank you. I feel much more confident hearing from you today. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments from the board?
A thank you. And then in regards to providing meals potentially to our virtual students, I know in North County where I work, they did a good job doing a weekly distribution that had, maybe your science materials and, had 5 breakfasts, 5 lunches for that week, so that people got their academic things if they needed them, and and the food was optional. They could say if they'd wanted it or not.
Okay, thank you very much.
Ms. Zamudio is not here tonight.
Okay. So moving on to Director of Special Education and Student Services, Miss Melanie Grundy.
Grundy, yeah, perfect.
Grundy, sorry about that.
No problem. Well, perfect. Good evening, everyone. We've been holding special education meet and greets and welcome back meetings for our different groups, such as our school psychologists, our service providers, and then just this afternoon, I got the opportunity to meet with our special ed teachers, and principals were able to join too. So that's been a great way to meet the teams and kind of collaborate on next steps and how welcoming our students back. Also had the opportunity to present at our new teacher orientation on special ed, which included just overview of IEPs, inclusion, and all our SPED acronyms. So that was really nice. Also, like Victor mentioned, collaborating on special ed transportation and just looking at routes and how we can best serve our students and families. Also tonight, sending occupational therapy contracts for board approval. We have been able to contract and bring in 2 occupational therapists to serve the district. Working on expanding the eLuma contract, which is the speech and languages services for some of our students in the district. And then just really looking forward to seeing students on Wednesday, welcoming our students back and just visiting school sites and classrooms. So that's it for me. Are there any questions?
Okay, no questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to Director of Parents and Family Engagement, Dr. Summer Prather-Smith.
Good evening, everybody. Like Melanie, I've had the opportunity this week to really get some time with our new teachers, which was great, and present at our new teacher orientation. That orientation really focused on sharing with our new staff members the 5 principles that our family engagement will be built on this year, which, just kind of to reiterate, is a culture that engages every family, communicating effectively with our families to develop relationships, building family efficacy, engaging every family in decision-making, and engaging our greater community. After that training with our new teachers, I've been able to visit a couple of our sites at their staff meetings to share that information with our returning staff as well, which has been really exciting to see everybody. Thanks to Victor's help, it looks like our door, our exterior entrance door, will be going in at Santa Rita to our Family Resource Center soon, which is going to be great because that's really going to support us in our upcoming distributions through the food bank, which they'll be doing our site visit this week and hopefully be getting some of those distributions in the next couple weeks as well. And then I'm hoping to bring to the board, either at our next board meeting or the following board meeting, a job description of our family community liaison, which will be supporting in our family resource centers, as well as under the foster and homeless services out of our family resource centers. So I'm excited to bring that job description to you soon and get that position up and running. And then I'll also be bringing to you an MOU. Thank you to Mr. Jacob Sandoval. I was able to connect with the Salinas Adult School, and we have already been able to put into place some ESL classes that'll take place in our Family Resource Center beginning in August, September. So I'm hoping to bring that MOU to you at our next meeting as well.
Okay, thank you. And also thank you for reaching out to them so quickly. That same day was pretty amazing. Any questions or comments from the board?
Dr. Parker, I just want to emphasize to you how happy we are as a district that this is a new vision that has been created with the support of the board members and staff. And, you know, we're very, very excited about all the possibilities that are out there. And so I look forward to your creativity and your ability to connect with our community. You know, I've always thought of our district as a community district. You know, we're just not here to educate our students. You know, we're here to be the central focus for our entire community. And by creating this position, this program, I know it's a lot of it's a lot to ask, but you know, we have high hopes, you know, and high expectations to a certain degree. But I look forward. I really am looking forward and excited to see all the great possibilities and things that come up and are created. So thank you for joining, and I wish you well on this journey. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I'm also excited. I'm hoping to bring to you by the end of this month a full calendar of our parent events that will happen at our Family Resource Centers. I've been able to connect with many of our community organizations who are excited to come forward and hold classes and workshops at our centers. And so by the end of this month is my hope. I'll have a calendar ready for the board.
That's awesome. Any other questions or comments? No? Okay, thank you very much for everything you do.
Thank you.
Okay, next we move on to Director of Curriculum and Instructions, Donna Coney.
Good evening, everybody. It's been a pleasure this last couple of weeks working with so many of our staff and our admin. Last week, we were able to hold a PLC conference at 3 different sites, delivered to us live yet virtually. And we had well over 100, maybe about 110, 112 total teachers, paras, TOSAs, and administrators participate in that professional learning community conference. And what a great experience, very positive feedback and energetic and exciting for the new year. Lots of teachers, it was a great, explained and expressed to me how it was such a great launch to starting the new year and having our kids on campus and really expanding where our PLCs already are and enriching them and taking them to another level. So that was really exciting. As of this afternoon, our virtual learning program under the leadership of Nadine Germany and our TOSA Karen Yoder, we have now enrolled over 50, just right at 50, 51, 52 students into our virtual learning program. And so that's very exciting as well. And we're working with our IT staff as well as, again, Chuck and everybody else on making sure that launches successfully. And it is going wonderful. It's all hands on deck for a great launch of that. And with those 50 already signed up, I'm really excited where that's going. It's been great. We've started our admin meetings with our site admin, giving them all the support and needs that they have to start off on Wednesday, as well as starting our weekly TOSA meetings. And I have to shout out to our TOSAs for all of their support as we launched that PLC conference last week, and their leadership in helping support that make it such a great success.
Okay, thank you, and thank you for launching that so quickly on the virtual academy with the rest of the team, and so we're excited. Any other questions or comments from the board?
Just a quick comment, Ms. Koenig. I want to commend you on building our PLC program here. I think if there ever was a time for small learning communities to take advantage of and making a difference, now is the time. I think this pandemic will give us that opportunity to fully implement and see the positive attributes of small learning communities. But my main issue is collaboration. Getting the teachers to work together, knowing that we have challenges, knowing that students are not going to, it's going to take a few years to get all the students back to where they should be. It's going to be a growing process, and as long as we work together and we have a common vision. So I support you. I encourage you to please continue developing our SLC model at each site, and please get that collaboration and bring them in, our family together to fight this struggle we're going to have in terms of getting our students back to where they should be. Yeah. Thank you. And once again, we have the right person for the job. They're doing it.
Definitely. Any other board comments, questions? Okay, thank you for everything you do.
Thank you so much.
Okay, moving on to Assistant Superintendent of Human Resource, Miss Becky Moore.
Thank you. As a few of the previous directors mentioned, we had our new teacher orientation on Friday here in this room, and it was a really successful and welcoming event. We were able to cover some nuts and bolts with mandated information that needs to be shared, and we brought in some of our benefit providers to explain the benefits that people are able to take advantage of in our district. But then we had all of the Ed Services team present and really get the teachers and the one counselor who is here very excited about what Santa Rita has to offer. So that was a really fun day. The other thing that we are working on right now is just making sure that we are confirmed with the staffing to start the year, including making sure that we have substitutes for those few vacancies that we have and for a couple of people who are out on leave. So we've been working hard on that to make sure everything is all set for Wednesday. Thank you.
Okay, awesome, thank you. Questions or comments from the board? Mr.
Same
Patel.
question I ask every year. Is each classroom going to have a teacher? Yeah, are we going to have enough people to feed our students, staff in terms of cafeteria? Do we have enough people to take care of the well-being of the schools, our custodial staff? Do we have enough people in our front headquarters, if you will, to maintain all the schools put together. And each side has administration. Thank you.
Okay, any other questions or comments? No? Okay, thank you very much. Okay, we move on to the board and the superintendent. Mr. Anderson was not here. Move on to Ms. Elva Arellano.
I have nothing to report. I didn't get any time to get into the, what was it? We had a virtual townhouse meeting or a town. Yeah, so I'm hoping that that went well, but no, nothing at this time.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Guinea. And then move on to myself. I did attend the town hall meeting, the Spanish version, which is really great. Mr. Ramirez's excitement is always always brings it up. So I do appreciate everybody who worked on that and information. I also, on Monday, I attended a workshop put on by a school board association. I've done it a couple of times, but I always like to overhear it over and over till it sticks. And I always like hearing other board members, kind of their ideas and how they run their board meetings and issues they run into, just to kind of keep improving myself as a board member the same way teachers do professional development. I feel that's really important. And that's about it. And then move on to Ms. Sarah Turner.
I have nothing specific to report. I just want to wish everybody good luck for Wednesday.
Definitely. And Mr. Neil Patel.
I'm very, very excited for this school year. This long winter has been too long. All right. I'm very excited for staff, but I have talked to a lot of parents, teachers, even a few students, and everyone seems to be very excited about getting back into the classroom. And I think we are very well prepared. I think we have all the safety protocols that are necessary. I think we have a staff who is beyond awesome. And so I'm really looking forward to this year being a phenomenal year where people come together. And so I'm excited. I don't think I've been this excited in maybe my first year of teaching 20 years ago, but this is like a rebirth to me for some reason. I don't know why. And, so we have a chance here to do great things. We can break the bonds of the past and create new future highways, future bridges, to God knows where. So I want to commend the entire staff for getting ready for Wednesday. It takes a community, right? So thank you very much. And to the parents out there, all I can say is, we are going to treat your children like our children. Their safety is our priority number one. Then comes education. So we will do everything in our possible way to get them educated in the safest way possible. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Moving on to our superintendent, Ms. Alderman.
I also had a great time with the new teacher orientation. I was invited to come in and give a presentation, and I realized that this is my 23rd year in education. I know. And, I've mentioned it before about how important school was for me as a kid. And I consider school the thing that saved my life. How I grew up and the childhood that I had, that teachers literally saved me sometimes. And so now to kind of reflect on that, Dr. Prather-Smith gave a great presentation about, thinking of your perception of school and how that influences how you talk about school in your home and things like that. And then, so I walked back to the district office after our presentation. I said, I was thinking about what her presentation, which means it was great, right? When you're thinking about it later, even after lunch, I was still thinking about it. And I thought, wow, so my perception of school, as being a safe place, as being a place where I could learn how to be something other than what I was being raised to be, and how that just changed my life, my whole life path. And here I am, a superintendent. And so for me, the superintendency means that I am working towards making that kind of environment for students. And I wouldn't want to do it anywhere other than Santa Rita. I can say that 100%. And so the last few days, kind of these start of the school year, fresh activities. I got to present at GV staff meeting today. It was really fun seeing the new teachers sort of embedded with the veteran teachers and everybody back and excited, even if we're wearing masks, people just happy to be back on campus. Made a joke how I was looking forward to hearing Julie Johnson yelling at the PE kids again and outside my office window, and how I miss that. And had a principal mention that this is our third school year impacted by COVID. And I was like, no, it's not. Oh, wait, it is. This is year 3 of this that we've been impacted a school year. And so I just feel like, though, that impact, everyone is coming back sort of stronger and just ready to push through whatever challenges show up for us on Wednesday, whether or not they're personal or things that our students are bringing with them. And so it's really exciting and sort of reinvigorating today. That's where I'm at.
No, thank you. And that's exciting to hear a lot of the direction that you're taking the district. So we really appreciate it. Any questions or comments from the board?
Once again, I don't know how much to continue to praise Melissa, but these have been the difficult times. I can't think of superintendents who've had this amount of stress on them, with extenuating circumstances. So Melissa, I want to thank you for your leadership, and continue to guide us, through these turbulent times.
Okay, no other board comments. We'll move on to 7.1. Is there any public comments regarding non-agenda items? And no public comments regarding agenda items? No. Okay, thank you very much. Move on to 8, business. 8.1, approved contract for consulting services with attendance reporting.
Thank you. This contract is to continue services with the consultant who helped us with our CalPADS work last year for attendance reporting until we're able to hire someone, which we anticipate happening pretty soon. And so this would continue services in the meantime.
Okay, sounds good. Questions or comments? Nope. Can I get a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Second?
Second.
Okay, second roll call, please.
Mr. Neil Patel,
Aye, aye, Captain.
Ms. Sarah Turner,
Aye.
Mr. Jacob Sandoval,
Aye.
Ms. Elva Ariano.
Aye.
Mr. Andrew Sandoval is not present. Motion passes 4-0.
Okay, thank you. Moving.
Mr.
Go ahead.
Sandoval,
Yes.
I'm just going to close that door if
Sure,
that's
of
okay.
course. Yeah. The squirrel.
There was a visiting squirrel.
Oh, was it really?
She chased it out.
Okay, good to know. She's brave. Okay, so move. Next item is 8.2, approved contract for consulting services with attendance training purposes.
So similarly, this is a subsequent contract that will be put into use once we do hire a person for our CalPADS position for the same consultant to then train our new hire to be able to do the work correctly.
Okay, any questions or comments from the board?
Motion to approve?
Okay, can I get a second?
Second.
Second roll call, please.
Mr. Neil Patel,
Aye. Aye,
Ms.
aye,
Sarah
Captain.
Turner,
Aye.
Mr. Jacob Sandoval,
Aye.
Ms. Elva Ariano.
Aye.
Mr. Andrew Sandoval isn't present. Motion passes 4-0.
Okay, thank you, everybody. Moving on to item 9.0, human resources, and we have 9.1, approval of resolution 21.07.22 for reduction of services at Little Bear Creek Preschool, certificated layoff.
Thank you. Enrollment at Little Bear Creek Preschool has declined significantly. Current confirmed enrollment effective August 2021 is at less than 10% capacity, yet our employment is still at 100%. And so, unfortunately, certificated layoffs are necessary due to the lack of work. So this resolution will reduce the number of certificated teachers at Little Bear Creek from 10 to 4. The district is committed to launching a robust campaign to increase enrollment and has the intention of hiring back or possibly rescinding if we can get enrollment up before the layoff goes into effect in 60 days.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, this was a pretty tough one. I know it's because of the situations and stuff, so I do want to send our apologies to the teachers that are going to get these notices or have received the notices. And as she mentioned, we are committed to try to get enrollment up to hopefully save if possible. Any other questions or comments from the board?
I have a comment. I am very upset. I'm very upset at two entities. I'm not upset at anyone here at our district. But what I am upset about is number one, obviously, because of the virus. You know, these are unintended consequences, you know, and we have fear out there. We have parents who are rightfully scared, you know, and I understand that. But that upsets me. The other thing that upsets me is the state. You know, here we go again with providing money and then taking it away, knowing that there are unforeseen circumstances that are mitigating in this case. And so I think the way the funding and the way the directives were placed upon getting that funding and how we have to reduce, we're forced to reduce staff right now, it's very upsetting. You know, this is a very tough decision for board members to make. You know, this is why we get elected. You know, I have joy when I approve all of the hirings, and I have pain and sadness for days like this. But once again, our hands are tied. These are things we must get done. Having said that, I thank the administration for pursuing an all-out effort to get our students re-enrolled so we can bring staff back. You know, and so I am committed to that. I think the district is committed to that. And having said that, you know, this is a very sad day. I'm not happy, but it must be done.
Any other questions or comments from the board? No. Can I get a motion to approve, please?
Motion to approve.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Okay, roll call, please.
Mr. Neil Patel,
Aye, Captain.
Ms. Sarah Turner,
Aye.
Mr. Jacob Sandoval.
Aye.
Ms. Elva Ariano.
Aye.
Mr. Andrew Sandoval isn't present. Motion passes 4-0.
Okay, thank you. Moving on to item 9.2, request for 4.0 FTE bus drivers / custodians.
The district is in need of 4 additional FTE for bus drivers who will also be 50% roving custodians in order to meet transportation needs and reduce the need for employees in other classifications such as maintenance to take on regular driving duties. And so we are in agreement that we may initially hire some or all of these positions as van drivers and provide training due to the shortage of bus drivers in California in order to address this need in the district.
Okay, thank you. And I know this has been an ongoing issue, right? Just across everywhere. Any questions or comments? And if not, can I get a motion to approve?
I want to thank staff for being creative, and I'm looking forward to further creative solutions because this, like you said, it is an ongoing problem, you know, but this is a good way to mitigate it in the short term. So thank you very much. With that, motion to approve.
Second.
Second, roll call, please.
Mr. Neil Patel,
Aye, Captain.
Ms. Sarah Turner,
Aye.
Mr. Jacob Sandoval.
Aye.
Ms. Elva Ariano.
Aye.
Mr. Andrew Sandoval is not present. Motion passes 4-0.
Okay, thank you. Moving on to item 9.3, approval of a .625 FTE short-term delivery driver.
We have upcoming construction happening here at Gavilan View in the kitchen, which will cause a need for food to be delivered to other serving stations. And so this would be a short-term FTE in order to address the delivery driving of transporting that food to where students can access it.
Okay, thank you.
It will be a 5-hour employee.
Any questions or comments, or can I get a motion to approve?
So motion.
Okay, can I get a second, please?
Second.
Okay, roll call, please.
Mr. Neil Patel,
Aye, Captain.
Ms. Sarah Turner,
Aye.
Mr. Jacob Sandoval,
Aye.
Ms. Elva Ariano.
Aye.
Mr. Andrew Sandoval is not present. Motion passes 4-0.
Okay, thank you, everybody. Moving on to 10.0 student services. Item 10.1, approved contract with Goodfellow Therapy. I think this is Ms. Melanie Grundy's item.
Oh. Do you want me to present? I'm happy to. So Goodfellow Therapy is a contracted service. They're local, they're in Central California. And we're seeking board approval for contracting with them for additional occupational therapy therapists for 2. So that's the update on that.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Okay, roll call, please.
Mr. Neil Patel,
Aye, Captain.
Ms. Sarah Turner,
Aye.
Mr. Jacob Sandoval,
Aye.
Ms. Alva Ariano,
Aye.
Mr. Andrew Sandoval isn't present. Motion passes 4-0.
Okay, thank you, everybody. Thank you. Okay, no items for 11, 12. Moving on to 13.0 administration. We have 13.1 CSBA manual maintenance, July 2021.
Yes, thank you. This are 3 board policies provided by CSBA to address the latest legislation requirements for independent study. And so they came separate from our normal quarterly update of our board policies. We submitted it to our board policy committee for review, and we're bringing it to the board for approval. And so our first is Board Policy 6157, distance learning, and it's the option to keep that board policy or delete that board policy. So we need to choose an option. At this time, I would suggest that we do not delete that board policy, just in case.
So are you asking for a motion to accept the addition of the 2 board policies
And
without the deletion?
Correct.
I so motion.
Okay. Just to clarify, that's a motion to not delete 61.57 and add the other 2. Okay.
And to include Board Policy 6158 and accompanying administrative regulations 6158.
Okay. So can I get a second?
Second.
Okay. Roll call, please.
Mr. Neil Patel,
Aye, Captain.
Ms. Sarah Turner,
Aye.
Mr. Jacob Sandoval,
Aye.
Ms. Alva Ariano,
Aye.
Mr. Andrew Sandoval is not present. Motion passes 4-0.
Okay. Thank you, everybody. Moving on to item 13.2, information, school facilities need analysis.
So we have a special guest here with us tonight, Mr. Kevin Sullivan, who is the Director of Planning Services for School Facilities Consultants. And he's here to present an informational overview of our school facilities needs analysis that is out for public review and comment right now. And he is commonly known in my lingo with you as our amazing district consultant throughout our process and negotiations of the mitigation process.
Okay. Thank you and welcome to our board meeting.
Good evening, Board President, board members, Superintendent, Cabinet. Thank you for having me. My name is Kevin Sullivan. Let's see. As Ms. Alderman mentioned, I am the Planning Services Director at School Facility Consultants. I've been with the firm almost 20 years. I do developer fees, master planning, school facility funding through the state program, that type of things. What I'd like to do is kind of maybe just go over a brief overview of what developer fees are. And then as we go through that, I'll bring up kind of how the district is implementing fees with a report that's out for noticing. Oh. There we go. So what are developer fees? They're basically the fees that the district has the ability to collect through the government code to offset the impacts of new residential development. They come in different flavors. Level 1, level 2, and level 3 are the common terms that you'll hear describing them. And they're backed up by different parts of the government code and the education code as far as how they're calculated and what is the underlying justification for you to levy those fees. But broadly speaking, they're the fees, they're the district's ability to offset the impacts of the new development. Oh, that one too long. Back one, please. Back 2. One more. We're on that one. Perfect. Sorry. So a brief history. So Developer fees have been in place since right around 1987. Prior to that, there were different mechanisms that school districts had in order to offset the impacts of development. So development has been going on since the beginning of California, and school districts have had different opportunities to offset that impact. In 1987, what was implemented was level 1 fees, which is a statutory fee, which I'll talk about in a second. That ran for about 13 more years until we got to 1998, where SB 50, which started the school facility program, which was the new or the current version of the state program that provides facility funding for new construction and modernization, was implemented. And that brought with it a new scheme for levying the fee, for calculating how the fee would be levied, or the amounts of the fee, and onto whom it would be applied. So level 1 fees, as I mentioned, that's the sort of the basic level of fee. It's also known as a statutory fee, and it's a capped fee. So every 2 years, and the even-numbered years, the State Allocation Board, which is the entity that governs the school facility program and has sort of back into the 1940s been the agency or the state body that sort of doles out the bond funds and the various state programs for facilities. They indexed the rates, and they were set in statute, like I said, in 1987. They started at $1 something, if my memory serves, and they've been increased so that in 2020, in January of 2020, they were $4.08 per square foot for residential, and they were 66 cents per square foot for commercial industrial. The level 1 fee is an interesting fee in that the board makes findings as to kind of the board makes findings as to the justification that there is a need for additional school facilities in the district. There's a report that a firm like mine would prepare that would provide you with the evidence required in order for you to make that justification, or that pardon me, in order for you to make those findings and then impose the fee through resolution. It's a K-12 fee, so of the $4.08, when you're in a level 1 situation, the district would share that with the high school district. Oh, go ahead.
I hope you don't mind questions along the way.
Either one is fine with me.
Is that okay, President? I noticed that you said January 2020 was the last rate that was reset to inflation. Is that correct?
Correct. Every 2 years. So the next one will be January of 22.
Considering and that inflation cost is based on construction costs, correct? Or is it just general? Because you know what's happening in construction.
I do. I'll be brief. It is based on the State Allocation Board's Class B Construction Cost Index, okay, which is at the moment, and has changed over time, is based on the construction costs in 10 California cities. It doesn't necessarily, in my opinion at least, bear any relation to the realities of what it costs to build something in Salinas, or what it costs to build something in Los Angeles, or what it costs to build something anywhere. But everyone lives under the same rules, and it is the index that the board has adopted.
So my expectation would be, since the general cost of all material has went up, more or less, or regardless of what city, that I'm hoping that when they reset it in 2020, which is what, 6 months from now, from today, that number, do you have an expectation or an idea?
The danger is with expectations of the construction cost index. In many years where I've thought that it should be 5, 6, 7%, it's 3%. And in years where I think it should be 15%, it's 7%. So I temper my expectations.
Yeah, but the highest you've seen would be what, roughly?
Oh gosh, back in probably 10 or 15 years ago, it would jump, 5, 6, 7, 10%, sometimes a year. But it's also been negative in 1 year. In 1 year, it was negative 1%. So that's never happened, thankfully, in a year where the adjustment for the developer fees came into effect. That was in sort of the odd numbered year. But and I have the way I read the government code, I don't think it can go down, but that's a lawyery thing. I'm an attorney.
Okay, no, that's
but
good enough.
Yeah, so
we should expect possibly some increase.
It should definitely be a positive increase. Whether it's a double digit, I think, whether the and you probably talked to Victor, and he probably tells you about what he expects costs and things to be. Whether the Class B change comports with what you expect or what you've been told to expect as far as construction costs and things like that, there may be a difference between those two. I have noticed that over time that the Class B does not necessarily, like I said, comport with what you expect to pay for actual construction projects.
And just one last question on this subject. Are we locked in on that rate fee on the year construction starts, or is it goes up and down every 2-3 years based on the current rate? So in other words, let's say the developer starts building and the rate is, let's say, $430 at that time. Is that fixed?
So we'll actually get to that because
Perfect.
this is a fixed rate, and then the next one is one that varies from year to year. So again, level one, think of level one as the basic fee, and it's fixed in every 2 years, and then a report is prepared for district consideration and adoption of a making of findings that the level of impact of new residential and commercial industrial development is at a minimum that level for the per square foot fee. So level two fees is maybe a little bit of what you were kind of getting at. They're an alternative fee to the level one. They're an additional set of statutes that as I mentioned, came into effect when SB 50 passed. They are they're intended to dovetail together. So SB 50 created the concept of a three-legged stool, which was the state was one, the local district contribution was the second, and then the third was developer fees, so that they would be a distinct impact for new school facilities and a distinct place for a district to develop a revenue stream. Level two fees are based in broad strokes on the school facility program. They use school facility program construction costs. They allow for school facility program developer fee or site development allowances and for site acquisition. They use similar capacity amount numbers. So basically, the underlying information for a level two report is very, very, very similar to how eligibility is determined in the state program. Because at the end of the day, the design for the level two fee is that it provides the district on a per student basis the local matching share for a new construction project. So I kind of talked about all the stuff on the slide. So it's supposed, like I said, supposed to represent the state's calculation of the 50% cost. Now, again, the district's actual cost to deliver that project may be significantly higher. This is a little bit different from the other fee in that it is not technically a K-12 fee. It is an individualized district fee. So when the SFNA, the School Facility Needs Analysis, which implements the level two fee, is calculated, it's specific and only to expected needs within Santa Rita. So at the moment, Salinas Union High School District charges their own level two fee, which is distinct from the collections under level, under level one. So 50%, level three. So level three is the alternative to the alternative fee. And it is 100, it's basically a doubling of the level two fee. And it goes into effect basically in times when the state doesn't have any money for school facilities. It went into, there's a complicated, the state allocation board has to write a letter that gets sent to the Senate that basically says we don't have any money. It triggers an allowance for school districts to double that that revenue, that charge to developers. It's only gone into effect that one time, May 25th of 2016, and then Proposition 51 passed, and kind of left sort of there's an ambiguity because since the statute was never ever supposed to be triggered, we were always supposed to have continuous bond cycles where the voters were able to approve additional money for the school facility program. It was never really ever supposed to happen. It kept being postponed through changes in the law that would sort of drag it out and say, oh, the next bond, a bond will be put on the ballot in 2 years, you know. But then Prop 13 failed, and we are waiting on a new bond to be placed on the ballot. So again. No district has ever been able to use level three bond, level three? To my knowledge, 3 districts charge level 3. A couple continue to charge level 3 after the bond passed. There was litigation. I don't have any details on kind of where that stands as far as it goes, but it's ambiguous and it's more of a legal discussion. as to whether or not level 3 switches off. From a practical standpoint, there aren't too many districts that are charging level 3 at the moment.
So theoretically, typically, that's only levied whenever the state doesn't have any funds, typically.
That's why it was put into place. It's intended to be, so again, 3-legged stool. There's still the local requirement for students who are sort of from natural growth. But if the state didn't have the ability to hold its leg up, then the developer was required to step in and provide that third leg.
And then the districts that have charges, they're pretty much interpreting the law a certain way, and they're into litigation. Is pretty much what it is, yeah.
Yes. Well, in May 2016, they sent the letter. There's nothing in the statute that basically says this is when level 3 ends. So it perhaps wasn't crafted in as carefully as it should have been, because it was really never intended to be invoked.
So all these districts who went with level 3, they're under the guise that the developers never ended up suing them because the bonds never passed. Is that what?
Yeah, so once so again, this was in that time
Yeah.
period between Prop 51, or before Prop 51 passed.
Mhm.
So when Prop 51 passed, if the developer made the claim, well, the state now has funds available to fund projects. However, since level 3 doesn't really say you can switch, how it switched off, several districts, I can think of one in particular up in the Bay Area, continued to charge level 3 fees, and there's litigation, and I'm not, to be honest with you, 100% on where it stands at the moment.
Oh, thank you for that clarification, because I think that is something we need to hear.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. It was brought a lot of clarification on that.
All right, so what do we charge it on? So basically, residential construction, basically the entire accessible space. So it's not charged on garages. It's basically the amount of square footage that the assessor is charging you property taxes on. For commercial, it's similar, but it includes sort of storage space. If that's sort of your business, if like say for rental self-storage, they would be charged on their entire area. We don't charge it on, like I said, garages, patios, overhangs, that type of thing. So basically the interior conditioned space. So we charge it on other residential construction. So, single family houses, townhomes, condominiums, multifamily apartment complexes, that type of thing. It's also charged on remodels where we're adding square footage, or additions, I should say. And it can also be charged in situations where you're tearing down a unit and then you're replacing it with a larger unit. If you're putting in a less than 500 square foot addition to your home, then there's an exemption allowance for that. If you lost your home to a natural disaster and you decide to build it back, you're not charged developer fees. If you make it bigger, then you're potentially on the hook for the difference between what you had and what you decided. Commercial industrial is an interesting category. It is justified by type. There are a laundry list of different types of development that were assessed with the San Diego Association of Governments in the 1990s, including rental self-storage, lodging, commercial businesses, and those are all outlined usually in the justification document. So certain projects are completely exempt from fees. They include religious uses, occupied by any type of state, federal, or local government agency. So, for example, you wouldn't charge on a police station, you wouldn't charge on a firehouse, you wouldn't charge on,
Ashley.
so much for silencing. You wouldn't charge on private K-12 schools that meet certain definitions in the education code. And again, as we talked about, you wouldn't charge on tear down due to a natural disaster. Like I said, there are unique rates for certain types of commercial industrial. Usually we charge a lower rate on rental self-storage, hotels and inns that are sort of that aren't residential in nature, also considered commercial. Senior housing, if you build a deed restricted senior housing, it's charged commercial industrial rate rather than residential because it's deed restricted to not, in theory, house any students that would impact the district. Mobile homes are also charged. But if they move around the district, they aren't charged twice. If they come in from outside the district, then in theory, they would be charged when they're placed. But if you were moving a mobile home around the district, you wouldn't be charged in theory twice. And then mixed use development would be charged commercial for the commercial portion and residential for the residential portion. And then there's questions. So as Ms. Alderman mentioned, we do have an SFNA that is currently out for public comment. I believe it's scheduled for adoption towards the end of this month. And that would allow the district to continue implementing a level 2 fee.
I just have comments. Just want to say thank you for the presentation. I think it clarified a lot of stuff that personally I was kind of unsure about and aware of. And it's also nice to meet you in person because we always hear your name. It's good. Can't see your face yet, but it's good to at least put a face to it. Any other questions or comments from the board?
Just again to thank you for your work, and it is true. This is like a celebrity sighting to us because we've been talking about this for so long. It's really exciting.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much for having me.
I just want to say thank you. You know, my concern is that make sure all the T's are crossed, the I's are dotted. You know, make sure that we redo and make sure the numbers are accurate, and you know that we can base our decisions on and make a well-informed decision. Having said that, you know, this is very big for our district, and you know, this is huge, and we want to make sure we do it right. You know, and so thank you for your presentation. Thank you for your guidance. You know, and I'm sure we'll be relying on your expertise as time goes.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay. Any final questions? Okay. Well, thank you very much. Okay, moving on to 13.3, informational state of the district, Q1. Okay.
Mr. President, is this like a State of the Union type thing?
It's better.
It's better.
Yeah.
Well, I got a show.
Okay, this is our first ever State of the District report. I put Q1 because we'll do one each quarter. It's really the purpose of our presentation is to update our community, our board, Q1 progress, and so provide current community scientific data right now. That's kind of where we're at. Describe our updated health and safety, instructional, socio-emotional progress and plans, and then an opportunity for some questions and follow up. So before we get really deep into this, I want to do a little bit of history. And so because I love knowing fun facts about random things, and it's not so random, I work here. So for a long time, I think Santa Rita, you could say we were the little district that could. We were hanging out North Salinas. So some of you may know we were established in 1871. And I gave this presentation at our new teacher orientation. And I said, I'm sorry, but I actually have to differentiate for you the average monthly salary for teachers in California in 1871. Because male teachers had an average salary of about $74, and female teachers in California in 1871, it was $63 and some change. We won't get into the gender inequity discussion here, but I'd like to think we've come a long way since then, and we don't have a gendered salary scale. So there's that. So that's kind of, if you were a teacher in Santa Rita in 1871, what your salary might have been. And we actually started out as a 2-room schoolhouse. And then in 1939, we expanded to a 7-room schoolhouse. And I have a picture of that one. That one eventually became our district office. In 1958 is when Santa Rita, so it was one school, so the Santa Rita School grew into a 19-room school over at on the land where Santa Rita Elementary currently is. And that original 19-room school was farther back than the current building. And actually, when they built the current building, they were still operational in the back. And then when they moved to the front, they demolished the school that was in the back, the older school. In 1963 is when we built La Jolla Elementary, which opened with 14 additional classrooms. And between 1963 and 1987, when we opened Gavilan View Middle School, we actually had to give away our junior high students for almost 20 years. So we gave them to the high school district because our two school sites were overflowing. They were actually on a double session. There was a new neighborhood being built, expected 600 more students. And so sort of in that period of desperation and growth, we actually gave our students away temporarily to the high school district. And then in the 80s, we established Gavilan View Middle School, which some of you may know started out in portables over on the La Jolla campus. And then the inaugural class entering here in 1987 at this, in these buildings. Then it wasn't until 2002 when we opened McKinnon Elementary School, and 2 years later, New Republic. And then 6 years later, we opened Bolson Knolls, which is now John Gutierrez Middle School, in 2010. And I could say that in 2021, we've opened our virtual learning program. That's a new school for us. And so that's kind of just a little history lesson for you. Thought that was interesting, taking everybody down that road. But I'll show you that 7-room schoolhouse. So we have a picture of this in our district office. And one of our longtime employees had told me that this front window there to the left was the superintendent secretary's office window, and she had a rotary phone. We all know what those are, with a really long cord that she could take out the front door and sit on the front steps and smoke and still answer the phone. And, you know, it was back in the day. And so that building's no longer with us, but that would have made a pretty cool district office. Probably no air conditioning, so maybe a hot district office. But so that's sort of our history and hanging out where we do on North Salinas. And I want to talk to you about some of the great things that we've got going on right now. So I want to bring us back to our updated vision and mission. I've been sharing this with teachers, our new teachers, our veteran teachers, talking about the workshop that we had where we really established and created a vision and a mission that really codifies what we do and who we are. So when I say who we are, we're the district that develop the minds and hearts of students, and we inspire our community to be the place where we all learn and grow. And so what do we do here? We work in partnership with our community, and we exist to provide high-quality, comprehensive educational experiences that support each student's academic and socio-emotional development in order to prepare them to be responsible global citizens who are career, college, and life ready. So I want to go through some of where we're kind of starting this school year and give you a little info. So in just looking at a little bit of Monterey County COVID 2020-21, where we're at, you can see we're on the far right now. And just to look back at this past year, and so about a year ago from here is when we had, and I feel too far away, I wish I had like a red dot to point at. So on the left, and you see a real spike there around January 21, right in the middle. And then as you go farther to the right, you can sort of see that end of July. We have a little uptick. So people are speculating that July 4th holiday, a little bit of an uptick. And now we're kind of leveling back out with our COVID cases here in Monterey County. So it kind of gives a look back visually of what felt like a sort of a tumultuous year with dealing with a pandemic. And where we are for vaccine rates, I realize that's kind of hard to see from that far away. It's hard for me, so we're all of an age. It might be hard for all of us. So in that ages 12 to 17, right now for fully vaccinated, we're looking at about 37% fully vaccinated. And then in the 18 to 49 age range, about 61% And then for between 50 and 64 years old, about 70%. And then the 65 plus doing almost as well at 69%. So Monterey County really looking at making sure everyone is fully vaccinated. That light green are the people who've had at least one dose of a 2-dose vaccine. And so continuing that push as we move forward, making sure that we're supporting our community and making sure people have access and information that they need to secure a vaccine for themselves or their family members has been sort of an ongoing theme for us throughout. So what everybody wants to know about is how are we starting school? Here we go. All right, so the start, school start, 21-22. Just want to remind everyone, school starts Wednesday, August 4th. And for students attending on campus, all of our schools, it's going to be a regular school year schedule. Wednesdays are minimum days, everyone. I also want to point out that students may register for the SRUSD virtual learning program for online instruction. So we've got our great team over there. They had a virtual learning program town hall after our larger district town hall and had over 100 participants online. They were able to answer a lot of questions, let them know that the registration would be rolling out at noon the next day. They started getting calls right after noon. So they were very clear in what the process would be and follow-up and procedures for that. And so really staying on the line, they're averaging phone calls about 15 minutes each because they're really helping parents through the entire process that they need to make sure that they're registered at one of our sites and that then we're getting them signed up for the virtual learning program and changed over in our system appropriately. So they're doing a lot of that one-on-one engagement to make sure our families are making the right choice for themselves.
Just a couple of comments. First of all, I want to thank you and the staff for providing that option. You know, for our parents who have concerns and still want to have their kids, be educated but do it from home. So I'm very thankful for that. See, what was the second thing I was going to think about? I think that was it. You know, just a virtual program, I'm so happy about it. I think it is something that's necessary. Oh, the other thing is I'm glad that our district created our own virtual academy. The idea of us sending our students somewhere else is not something I would ever support unless it was absolutely necessary. But what I really want to appreciate is that our district went ahead and started this many months ago. You know, this discussion, this plan. And so the fact that we're up and running and we have that option for our parents continues to show our commitment to our community. Thank you.
So go to the next one. Okay, we're back on, we're still on school starts. The second slide that says that. There we go. All right, so we are following California Department of Public Health guidelines. Just want to keep that out there. They change a little bit here and there, and we're making sure everyone's informed about any of those changes in a timely manner. So with that in mind, masks are required indoors for all students and staff, except when eating or drinking. Want to make sure that everyone knows, just like when we created our safe return to school plans, access to hand sanitizer, hand washing stations on all campuses, really making an effort to ensure that students have access to disinfecting wipes for their personal learning space if they feel like they need to do that, and that we are regularly sanitizing shared spaces throughout the day. So that's part of the protocols for our school sites. So when we have those shared spaces, making sure that people have access to the tools that they feel like will help, keep them safer. So like making sure we have disinfecting wipes next to the copy machine so that we're wiping that down after we use it. It's shared equipment, things like that. Just sort of reiterating those day-to-day safety measures as well as supporting the mask wearing on campuses. Okay, so We are looking at having almost all of our certificated positions filled. We are still hiring 2 elementary teachers, particularly Santa Rita Elementary School. We're also looking for a music teacher who will split McKinnon Elementary and New Republic, speech language pathologist across the district, and 2 virtual learning teachers for our virtual learning program. We will begin the year with substitutes and appropriate programming to fill any vacancies that we still have on Wednesday. That's an advertisement if anyone is looking to join the Santa Rita family. Also interested in bus drivers / custodians. All right, on the horizon, Family Resource Center. So Dr. Prather-Smith has already secured 3 spaces for Family Resource Centers, so she got to jump right on that. Our main center will be at Santa Rita Elementary School with auxiliary centers at McKinnon Elementary School and John Gutierrez Middle School. So that puts a Family Resource Center in each of our 3 distinct learning communities. And our delay right now is furniture. So we have it ordered and we are on a wait list to get our furniture. So right now what we're doing is we're working with available extra furniture here and there so that we can go ahead and move forward with those adult classes that we have scheduled that we want to go ahead and start offering now. Even though the space isn't ideally set up and furnished, it will be soon, and we'll have a grand reopening when everything is set and ready to do that. And so we're going to go ahead and start with our services now to the ability that we can. So working on those partnerships to include adult GED and EL classes. And so getting that going, working in partnership with the adult school and reaching out and doing that, as well as the Monterey County Food Bank. So they'll have a monthly delivery for McKinnon and John Gutierrez, and then twice monthly at Santa Rita Elementary School. They are also going to stock some dry goods at our Family Resource Centers, as well as some perishable items at Santa Rita Elementary when we secure our refrigerator for that space.
I'm excited. I don't know what to say. This is a baby we've talked about for how many years, you know? I mean, I am so excited. I'm seeing pieces come together. I see the food bank coming in. We have English language learning acquisition going on, English classes going on for adults after school. I mean, you know, bringing the social programs as well, homeless, you know, whatever it is, you know, our students need. I don't know. I just feel so fortunate right now that I'm part of this board and part of the school district and seeing this come about. You know, it just, thank you. Thank you to everyone, you know, at our district for this. This is, you know, education is one thing. That feeds the mind. But this is feeding the soul of our community, you know? And so thank you, and thank you. I'm excited.
No, thank you, Ms. Tal. I definitely agree. I mean, this is all of us that we've been talking about it, seeing it a reality and you making that happen with the position. So can't wait for the grand opening.
I know, it'll be fun. So want to give you some updates, district updates. We have federal program monitoring in September 2021. This happens every 5 years or so. I was here the last time it happened. I had just really gotten into the full swing of my job, knowing that federal program monitoring was scheduled. So districts are on a cycle and we are up. So this year, the reviews will be online. They're not coming on site for the reviews. And really what federal program monitoring does, they tell us which of our programs they're going to pull in for monitoring and which sites in advance. And so we have that information. And it's a chance for each of those programs at CDE to come in and help districts identify and update any areas of noncompliance. So if anything's outdated or missing a component, they help us identify those things and then shore up any areas of potential weakness in our programming. And so this year, they're going to monitor compensatory education, which you know is Title I, and then English learner programs, which you know as Title III. And they'll be reviewing district level, and they have chosen La Jolla Elementary and New Republic Elementary as their school sites for review. So Donna Koenig is taking the lead on this, and I will be her shoulder partner since I've done this before. And we will assist Ms. Baumgardner and Ms. Escamilla through the process, making sure, that they have everything that they need to be able to get through this successfully, and that they're able to take and integrate any feedback we receive from our monitors. And so we'll keep you abreast of the progress as we head into that. We've got some training scheduled preliminarily for this week and next week online with CDE.
And how long does that process typically take?
I think they're actually scheduled for the review online. Our window is from the 7th through the 10th. We have a list of the evidence requests that they have, and so that we're able to go ahead and, if we have things available readily, get them ready. And it opens a portal online where they post their request, and then we respond to their request by uploading documents or, scanned things and proof, the evidence of. Then afterwards, we have about a 45-day period if there was anything that needs to be fixed or updated, that we have in which to go ahead and do that and then resubmit to clear any findings from the monitor.
Okay, thank you.
All right, Donna Koenig talked about this a little bit, but I kind of want to reiterate. So off to a great start. We had over 100 of our staff members attending a 3-day professional learning conference. We had teachers, paraprofessionals, and administrators. They spent time learning, reviewing, and planning so that we can have a great restart to our PLC focus on professional or on student growth. So our professional learning communities, it's something that we've been doing, and then using that opportunity of COVID to just sort of revamp, revitalize, reinvigorate our process and do a jump start. We talked about setting a new baseline for student data. This sort of sets a new baseline and tone for our professional learning communities around that data. So this was kind of the big kickoff to that. And they spent time, they had to divide up onto 3 campuses because we had such great attendance, and doing it in sort of a live yet virtual experience in a conference. And so they had a large conference somewhere, and a lot of districts like us were able to join in virtually and get a level of conference experience where you were able to go to breakout sessions and really engage with other professionals about the process and sort of getting everyone re-excited about this. And again, in terms of our professional development menu, again, teachers will have access to a full menu of options to meet their individual needs. We've done that the last couple of years. It's really an innovative way to allow teachers to assess what they need as individual professional educators, on top of like the regular day-to-day kind of PD that we need everyone to have access to, because it's compliance or safety or something like that. But then their individual needs, depending on where they are in their career or what they're professionally interested in. So doing the menu of PD has been a way to really allow people to sort of explore that and engage more deeply into something that's of professional interest for them. On top of that, we're really looking at building in access to ongoing professional development for our instructional paraprofessionals. So they come in contact and do a lot of work to help meet the needs of our students. And we want to make sure that we're helping to meet their needs for professional growth and what they need to know how to do their jobs well. So we're really looking at integrating them as much as possible in an ongoing professional development model also. We're going to focus on our priority of maximizing learning opportunities for students. So we set that as one of our priorities in our strategic plan, and so we're really committed to that. We're looking at establishing a new baseline data this fall for reading and math in order to focus on growth. And so sort of our theme and our focus around, setting that new baseline, getting everyone reinvigorated around a PLC and integrating student data, it's really on individual growth of students. And so the first thing we have to do is know where our students are. All right, when we look ahead, we're planning for after-school extended learning opportunities at all 6 sites to begin in September. Our new boardroom is expected to be open before September, hopefully, definitely by our first meeting in September. And looking at resuming in different ways our student reports and our school spotlights, principal spotlights, returning to our board meetings this month in August. Any questions, comments?
Don't mind me. The first bullet point on here, I am very supportive of providing as many opportunities for our students to learn outside of the classroom on regular school time. So I like the idea of having these after-school extended learning opportunities, maybe have something on weekends, Saturday academies, whatever it takes, you know? If we have staff that are willing to teach, you know, and we had the funding to do it, you know, I think, you know, use as much of that time as possible to get as many kids engaged, you know. I look forward to seeing those school spotlights again. I think for all of us, I think having the students come and present, this year I'm looking forward to having all of the elementaries come as well. You know, I just get a little great pleasure out of that. And so I want to make sure each side is represented, you know. And last but not least, I want to say thank you. You know, I've been here God knows how long, and this is the first time we've had a state of the school district presentation, you know, so thank you very much, you know.
Thank you for the presentation. And the only comment that I had, just because I've lived through a federal audit before, was I don't know if you already are, if it's possible with the new electronic forms that we can move to doing things like keeping ELEC minutes in there, that kind of thing, because I've lived through having to digitize, you know, years of stuff that you have, but, you know, just so that we can potentially start a process of having all that in a centralized place in the district, so that when we go being audited, it's already there.
Yeah. So we started doing that after the last time I did that, so that we were at least having a shared Google Drive for our administrative things, for things like meeting minutes that get lost on paper. And so just making sure that we always have a copy of those ongoing. And then, of course, with the school closures and meetings going online, that really facilitated that process even better. So we've got a lot of that, really digging into the nuances of what they're doing. They're coming in and reviewing schools after COVID. So we've had a preliminary meeting. They know of the challenges that districts had, and so are sort of being flexible to the extent that they can, and really discussing how something might have looked a little different last year, and that whether or not that still met the standard. And so we'll work with them and keep you informed.
Okay. No, thank you for doing the presentation. I love the innovation as we continue to make things a little better, tweak things, and looking forward to everything going on.
Yeah, thank you, Melissa. I really like that presentation. I really like the history. I came into this district in 1977, I believe. And I do remember Gavilan View being over at La Jolla. My son was there, and he was one of the first ones to come to Gavilan View. So our district has really grown since 1871, I think.
1871.
But thank you. I mean, that's a great reminder of the growth of our district, and a fine district that we are in. So, and I really like to see what we're doing ahead, you know, of the year. So thank you so much. That was a really good presentation.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so now we move on to 14.0, advanced planning. Our next regular board meeting will be August 11th, 2021. And is there any in the 14.2 suggestion for future board items?
Not soon, but once it gets up and going, I'm just assuming that the virtual learning will appear in our, you know, the rotation of the schools.
It's you know, exact same thing. I want to know what the enrollment is, and what resource we have dedicated to virtual, and also numbers of students returning.
Yeah, I was going to mention the same thing, just not right away, but once it kind of comes in, the enrollment numbers, and then transfers out and transfers in, just to see how we're doing as a district. Okay. Well, if there's nothing else, thank you, everybody. Stay safe out there. Wear your mask indoors. Get vaccinated if you can. And can I get a motion to adjourn at 7:26?
Well, almost.
Almost.
But if we could just continue, as you mentioned in your presentation, including information to families about where they can get vaccinated, especially their children that are 12 and up, so that people know that they have access and that it's free. And then I motion to adjourn.
Oh, thank you.
Second.
Second, roll call, please.
Mr. Neil Patel.
Oh, well, all right. Aye.
Miss Sarah Turner.
Aye.
Aye.
Mr. Jacob Sandoval.
Aye.
Miss Elva Ariano.
Aye.
Mr. Andrew Sandoval isn't present. Motion passes 4-0.
No. Okay, thank you, everybody.